Hi, my name is Sienna Lopez. Today I'll be teaching you about how to draw the Swift Parrot from Australia. I'll be teaching you art techniques, but also fun facts about the bird, its habitat, and wildfires. I created this art piece in elementary school when we were learning about elephants for a club called Helping the Wild. Feel free to go to www.helpingthewild.org to learn more about the birds we're painting or drawing today and how you can help your environment. Okay, so we're going to start off with the sketch of the Swift Parrot. This is done with a regular pencil. It can be mechanical or traditional. Make sure you draw very lightly, kind of like how an ant crawls on a leaf, just very slow and lightly, because we will be erasing these lines later, so make sure you draw lightly enough to do so. So first we're going to draw the head, which is a circle. So what you're going to do is you're going to make an OK sign, and judging how big that circle is, you're going to draw that head about as big as the circle, and you're going to draw it slightly away from the page so it doesn't run off. So about as long as these two parts of your finger. So here, so I'm going to draw it about this big. And make sure you draw very lightly so you can erase these lines later. Now we're going to draw the eye. And the eye is going to be a smaller circle in the center of this circle, so it's going to look like a donut. And then after that, we're going to draw kind of like an upside down raindrop. It's going to kind of be a bit of a circle here, and it'll curve down like a raindrop. After that, we're going to draw an oval that kind of intersects or kind of crosses over the head. And to connect the head to the body, you're going to draw a line that just goes from the head to the body. For the wing, we're going to draw a smaller oval that'll be on the right side of the big body oval, so it'll connect. So they'll both touch right about here. Now we're going to draw a small little circle right here, because this will be one of the feathers. So it'll be a little oval, and you can erase this line if you need to. And after that, we're going to draw a slightly curved triangle. So it'll be a very thin and long triangle, and this will be the wingtip. We're just going to add a little lump right here. It's kind of a curved line. Then we're going to add a second lump that kind of follows in the same direction right here. After that, you're going to add a little triangle that kind of is just from this part of the wing to that part of the circle. Feel free to erase any of the lines if you don't like how they look. Now I'm going to draw the stick. This will be two parallel lines, meaning that they're like this instead of crossing. And they'll go straight down. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be going roughly in the same direction. Now we're going to draw the tail, which will start from about here and go down to about the length of maybe this part of your hand, from your fingertip here to about where your thumb is. The second part of the tail will just be a bit shorter than that. Afterwards, you'll just connect the two lines with a little curve. Now we're going to draw the legs. You'll start by making little lines right here to represent this leg. And then you'll make another leg right about here. So the leg will be going this way, starting at the base of the triangle. And then there'll be another leg going this way. Now here's the tricky part, is the toes. We're going to draw another upside down raindrop for this toe. So you just kind of make a circle and then add a little curvy triangle. After that, to make the other part of the foot, you go out and then curve down. And for the second foot, you go out this way and curve down, and out that way and curve down. So out and down, and out and down. Afterwards, this is going to look like another raindrop. So it kind of forms either like a J or like a C. Now we're going to start outlining the bird in a black Sharpie marker. After you're done outlining the entire bird, we're going to erase the pencil sketch we made under it. Make sure you don't erase as you go and leave some time for the marker to dry so you don't accidentally smudge anything. But if you do smudge it, it's totally fine. So first I'm going to start by outlining the eye. But at the end, I'm going to add two little triangles. So it'll kind of look like a cat's eye with little pointy things at the end. After that, I'm going to add a pupil, which is another circle. And I'm going to color it all black. So after that, you're going to outline the raindrop beak, and add a tiny little nostril at the top. And then you're going to outline the head. So you'll start by outlining the forehead, but right around here, you're going to start to add little lumps to represent feathers. And it doesn't really matter how many lumps you add. You can add 3, you can add 5 or 10, as long as you just add a couple little lumps. You're going to do the same thing on the other side of the neck where the chest is. So you do 1, 2, 3 little lumps. You can do as many lumps as you want. I just chose to do 3. After that, you're going to add a couple big lumps right here where the wing starts. So I did 2 lumps. I did 1 and 2. Just make sure they're a little bit bigger than these. After that, I'm going to start right about here. I won't color all of this. I'll just start here and go down, and it'll form kind of like a big U. so it's not connected at the top here. It looks like a big U. Now I'm going to add these feathers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do smaller U's. 1, 2, 3. Right where this little circle was. And then after that, I'm going to add another U inside the top U. Now I'm going to color in the wingtip. So I'm just going to trace over the lines I already made with the pencil. So it'll kind of form that weirdly shaped triangle. To trace the back, I'm just going to start where I started the feathers and go almost all the way down, but maybe just leave a little gap right here. If you don't leave a gap, that's also fine. And then I'm just going to trace right here for that line, then that other lump line. To trace the tail, I'm going to draw these two parallel lines all the way down. But I'm not going to just do a little swoop right here. I'm going to add little feathers. So you can do as many feathers as you want. I'm doing 3. And then I'm going to repeat the same lumpy technique, just a bit higher up, kind of where the middle is. And at the very top, I'm just going to add 2 little lumps. Just 2 little U's. Now I'm going to trace a soft bend where the triangle for the leg is. And afterwards, I'm going to draw on the leg by tracing the line right here. And for the toe, I'm not going to connect it all the way. I'm going to leave this space on the top empty. So this gap right here, this little line is going to be empty. I'll be doing the same for the other leg. I'll go down. Then I'll leave that little gap right there. And I'll draw the rest of the foot, the out and down part. Finally, after that, I'm just going to trace the stick. And the stick doesn't have to go all the way to the page, and it doesn't have to be a perfect line either. The Swift Parrot is 25 centimeters tall, and its wingspan is about 38 centimeters long. It is mainly green, with bright red above its beak and below its beak. Now that we're done, let all of this ink dry, and then erase all your pencil lines. The 2020 Australian bushfires affected the exact region where swift parrots live. Now get out the medium you'll use. A medium is the thing you'll use to create art, like colored pencils, watercolor, or markers. Today I'll be using markers, but feel free to use any medium you would like to. You'll need red, orange, yellow, green, a light blue, a dark blue, a pinky brown color for the beak, and 2 browns. I'll be starting with the red first by adding a little bit around his face. Like a dot here, and then there'll be another dot around here by the top of his nose and under the bottom of his nose. There'll also be red just on the first part of the feather right here. And they'll be red right here on the second part of his tail. Swift parrots use tree cavities for nesting. About 62.8% of known nesting cavities were destroyed because of wildfires. Deforestation is also a very big threat. And it's totally fine if your ink just gets a bit out of the lines like my tail right here. Now get out your light blue. The light blue is only going to be used right at this wing part right here. So it'll form just kind of a little crescent shape or following the shape of the wing right here. And for the dark blue, we're just going to finish coloring this part of the tail. The swift parrot is a nomadic migrant, meaning they go where food is available. They need food in suitable nesting sites, so that means their location changes every year. Now I'm going to go in with the yellow. The yellow is going to follow along this part where the red was. So it'll just kind of go around the beak and the red parts. It'll also be right here where the first two big lumpy feathers are. It'll be at the bottom of the triangle leg. So it'll be around the face, the big lumpy feathers, the bottom of his leg. But there's also another part that we'll need to color yellow later. So take out your black marker again and form little U's that go from here and they curve up and go back down, kind of like stripes. And go back up and down and up and down. We'll be coloring these parts in black. The swift parrot is only found in eastern Australia and Tasmania. They're critically endangered, with an estimate of 2,000 to 300 left in the wild. So now we kind of have little crescents that kind of look like smiley faces that just go up and back down, or kind of like waves. We'll be repeating the same pattern on this wingtip too. So they go up and down and up and down. So it's up, down, and up, down, and you color all the way black. After that, finish coloring in all the wingtip completely yellow here. Take an orange and color in the orange eye, just the circle. For the beak, take a color that's kind of light. If you don't have this color, you can use a yellow and color in the beak. So it's kind of this pinky thing right here. And I'm also going to color in just the tips of the eye right here with the same color. Take your light brown and color in the legs. And finally, to finish off the bird, color the rest of the bird green. So this part of the triangle is going to be green. These feathers are going to be green. Climate change is when the usual weather patterns change around the globe. This has always happened, like in the Ice Age, but this time it's being caused by humans. The average global temperature is rising, which means that places are getting hotter and drier. When that happens, it's more likely for fires to start. By helping with climate change or preventing fires, you're making the world safer and better. Now to color the stick, take your darker brown and just color the stick. Things you can do to help prevent forest fires is making sure you don't play with fire or matches, plant native plants or trees, and participate in a river or forest cleanup day. Now I'm going to draw in the background. I'm just going to be using the light blue, but if you want to do a sunset, or if you want to do purple and pink flowers, or really any color, that's fine. Maybe not a lot of green around the bird because it might be hard to see the bird, but since it's very colorful, it's a lot easier to choose whatever color you want to. So for my clouds, I'm just going to draw little lumps. They don't have to be perfectly round. Kind of just little curves that keep just going around. And I don't want to go through my bird, but I can kind of just go around it. And at the very end, the curves start to become a lot longer until they turn into just a little point. Then at the very bottom, you do a straight line, and then once in a while you just add another big curve. And I'm going to do this on the other side too. I'll just draw a big curve. And then I'll go to shorter, longer, smaller curves until it turns into a point. And then I'll just draw another curve and another curve. So you go big curve and they start to get smaller and longer, point, a straight line, and then just a couple more curves. I'm going to draw maybe another cloud, maybe a little bit smaller this time. So just a little big lump, and then they go straighter, and then little lumps at the very bottom. And I might want a sun in my drawing, so I'm just going to draw a little circle, and then just color it all up with yellow. Now maybe I want this sun to have rays, so I'm just going to do little loops. A great way to make sure your forest and home is safe is to have a good defensible space. A defensible space is where you clear your yards and driveways of leaves, pine needles, and flammables so it's harder for a fire to spread. And then I'm just going to go back in with my yellow and continue the rays. Now I'm going to draw in some leaves. I'm going to make these leaves a bit long and curved. Now, if you have a darker green, you can go in and add maybe a couple more leaves. Indigenous people around the world, such as the Washoe people in California, and Indigenous Australians used to set prescribed burns to help keep the environment healthy. When Europeans came and displaced them, they were unable to do any prescribed burns, which made the environment unhealthy. Luckily, there are local conservation efforts that you can be a part of. Volunteering is a great way to prevent forest fires and build a community. Now I'm going to go in and add some flowers using the light pink color I used for the beak. I'm also going to go in with darker purple or pink too. And finally, I'm going to take the light blue and color in the sky. One way to make sure the planet is healthy with less harmful fires is to save energy by turning off lights or riding a bike instead of driving. If weather or other factors prevent you from riding a bike, don't feel bad. There are plenty of ways to help. One of the best things you can do is know how fires and climate change work. Even if you don't want to be a scientist, always stay informed on how the world works and what you can do. Great job, you guys! We all painted or colored this beautiful bird and learned about it, its habitat, and how you can be a good steward of the earth. Keep on creating and learning and have a great day!